What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of my Next Gen Career Mode. This is episode number 20, and we start today's episode off by starting the new season. Of course, in the last episode we ended the season. We qualified for the Champions League thanks to that win over Dortmund on the final day, and the board had given us our objectives, and as you saw there, they want us to reach the semi-finals of the Champions League. It's like, that's not going to happen, obviously, and they've only given us a budget of £11.5 million as well, and I'm just sat there and I'm like, yeah, I mean, if you want us to, finish in the semi-finals of the Champions League, I think we need a bit more money than £11.5 million. So I'm really annoyed about that. I said before, like, the objectives on FIFA are just so unrealistic. I mean, it was a monumental achievement for us to finish in the top four last season. Incredible, absolutely incredible. No one would have thought it beforehand, but we managed to do it somehow. Just scrape by a single point. And the ball come to us in the summer, and they're like, yeah, you should be reaching the semi-finals of this competition. It's like, no, we really shouldn't, And to give us £11.5 million, well, I just think that's a bit of an insult, really. As you look over the squad, there's some decent players in there. It's quite a thin squad. Some decent players in there, but, Champions League semi-finals is way too unrealistic. I mean, if we get out of our group, I'll be happy. But anyway, Marcus Roca, the player that came in on a pre-contract, he's a Brazilian right-back. You saw his stats there, 74 overall, relatively decent. Quite average, really, but still relatively decent. But, yeah, with £11.5 million, there isn't really much we can do. The first aim for me is get some players in ASAP. Some instant players, even if they're on loan, because what we really need is a fixed squad this year. We're going to be playing midweek games plenty, and we really do need to make sure we've got a thick enough squad. So any kind of injury crisis, any kind of fitness crisis whatsoever, we've got players ready to play, even if they're quite average, mid-60s. I don't care. We need these players in this squad. You know what I mean? So we inquire about a couple of players on loan. Dux and Zellerlem we had last year. I definitely like them back here because they were okay. Dux didn't actually play that much, but Zellerlem played quite a few games and he was alright. And also Hector Bellerin from Arsenal as well. There was a German winger as well from Dortmund I went in for on loan. And also Nathan Ake at Chelsea. But I wasn't actually sure whether I was going to actually sign these players or just, see whether we could get hold of them or not, because there's quite a few I went in for. But I remember that, just because you get a transfer budget, you got to look at the wage budget as well. We've only got 50 grand on a wage budget as well. That's our entire budget for this transfer window. £11.5 million and 50 grand a week. And as you can see, the players' wages, if we sign all these players on loan, unfortunately for us, like, we're going to be running out of money already. So, I was thinking, it's very little we can do, unfortunately, at the moment. But I also put in a bid for Serge Gnabry. His contract's up in 12 months. He was okay last year. He held down a first team spot. So I put in an actual bid for him of £1 million. I'd love to get him on cheap. That'd be a great deal for us. But we also put in a bid for Jonathan Tah on loan as well. Loads of you guys seem to want me to get this guy last year, but of course I told you that on the game it said that he just joined the club, so I couldn't do anything. But we put in a new bid here and we'll wait and see what they say. But I also decided to go for Loic Remy here. I saw that Napoli are interested in him. He's an 80 rated striker, £7 million valuation. I went in for him. I thought maybe we could do a straight swap deal for Ramos, because even though they're a similar type of striker, if you will, quite quick, pretty clinical, at the end of the day, Ramos has his contract up at the end of the year. He doesn't seem to want to sign a new deal, and I'd rather not see him go on a free. So I wait and see what QPR say. But the first thing you'll see is we have a transfer offer for Thomas Kraft here. Swansea wanted for £3.6 million, which we just laugh at. But to be honest, there are many deals for Thomas Kraft in today's episode, or Kraft if you will. There's loads and loads of offers for our German goalkeeper. He's wanted by like 10 or 15 teams. It's actually crazy, but I'm not going to be accepting any lower bids for him than around £6 to £8 million. So we are Schalke for £8 million here, because he is a really good goalkeeper. He's 79 overall. He's only, 25, 26. He's very decent. Other than the occasional mistake, he's very decent. So I would like to keep him here, but if we can make a few £1 million on him, I wouldn't mind. But also we see here that a few of the clubs, or most of the clubs, accepted their loan offers, although a few didn't, mainly because of the future fees I included. But Dortmund said that we could take their German pairing of Dux and that wide man. Also Hamburg said they wouldn't let us take Jonathan Tah on loan because they didn't like the £1 million future fee, so we just removed that and we'll wait and see what they say. We did the exact same with Zellerlem as well. We just said, okay, we'll remove the future fee and just try and sign him on a normal season-long loan, and we'll wait and see what they say after that. But as you can see, all the clubs did say that the loan offers were accepted, so we could go ahead ahead and sign these players if we wanted to do so. But again, I was thinking about the wage budget, 50 grand. I didn't want to sign all these players because I thought at the end of the day it's going to cost us quite a bit of money. So I decided to sign this striker on 3 grand a week. I don't mind that. The reason I chose this guy over Dux, because even though Dux has a 6 rating, is 6 ratings better, that's a 7 grand a week difference, and believe it or not, that could actually be quite crucial to us in order to sign some new players, because like I said, as we don't have that much money, we need to make sure we save as many pennies as we can. And of course, this player will never play. Dux played 1 game for us last year, he was just there for peace of mind. This guy will never play, he's just there for peace of mind. So we go with a 3 grand a week player instead. And also Arsenal wanted £3.3 million for Serge Gnabry, and I was like, well, I don't think I'm going to pay that much money, but I did put in a bid of £1.6 million. That's his valuation, and we'll wait and see what Arsene Wenger says there, because he's clearly got a big future, but I'd love to prize him away from Arsenal and to the Olympia Stadium. But after that, we still did have those players ready to accept, but I just didn't know, it was good to know they wanted to come in, but I was like, I don't know whether I really want to sign them, to be honest. But Lille weren't happy with the counter offer we asked for Ramos, but to be honest, all of the transfer offers we were getting were for Ramos and Kraft. Every single email was for Ramos and Kraft. No other players in our squad were wanted but those 2 players. But Schalke said they would match £6 million, but I didn't know, I don't mind letting him go for £6 million because he's a decent goalkeeper, but I think we'd probably get a decent one for £6 million and then probably be able to spend some more money as well on the squad. But I don't know, I really like him, what can I say? But following that, you saw that, again, Ramos, a bid comes in there. We asked for 10 million. Another bid for Kraft, we asked for £8 million. So, yeah, the bids just continues to pile up for our goalkeeper. He really is in hot demand. But Hamburg have accepted the loan offer for us to take Jonathan Tah, and I accepted this one because he's only going to be costing us 2 grand a week. So again, I'm looking for those cheap players on loan. It's crazy to think that I'm actually being a bit of a cheapskate for the loan players, but I have to be. But he's a 68 overall centre half, 85 strength for just 18 years old, and some decent defensive stats. So I'm pretty happy with that one. We can take a look at him and see what he's like after a year, and if we want to sign him next year, we can think about it. But anyway, as Kraft may be leaving the club, I decided maybe we could look at signing a new goalkeeper in this window, because even though the goalkeeper area is one of our strongest, I thought maybe if Kraft is going to leave, maybe we can go ahead and offer a swap deal here. And I put in a bid for Ter Stegen here of £3 million plus Thomas Kraft, because Ter Stegen is an awesome goalkeeper. I actually think he's leaving Borussia Mönchengladbach this year. I'm pretty sure he is, and there's a lot of talk of him going to Barcelona, but I'm not sure. But I know or at least I'm pretty sure he's leaving his club that he's been at for a very long time. And I know on FIFA as well, he's a very popular choice for career mode YouTubers because he does have a good potential, and he's already looking quite good at the moment. And of course, his contract is up at the end of the year anyway, so with that in mind, we could possibly try and say to Borussia Mönchengladbach, well, you might lose him on a free agent, or we can have him, or you can get some money and a goalkeeper. What would you rather? But anyway, Arsenal have accepted the deal for us to offer Serge Gnabry a contract, £1.6 million. That's a really good deal. So we go ahead and offer him a contract. We give him squad rotation status, 15 grand a week, and we'll wait and see what he says. And also, as you can see here, again, we had transfer offers for Thomas Kraft. Also one loan deal. Bochum wants Sprint on loan, so we say yes. That's probably a terrible pronunciation there, but we say yes, Sprint is going out on loan. And also Borussia Mönchengladbach came in for Kraft, which is funny because we were going for Ter Stegen, so a bit of a swap going on there. But we say give us £8 million and you can take him, but we'll have to wait and see what they say. And we also had Athletic Bilbao say to us they're not going to match the counter offer for Ramos. And also Arsenal have accepted the offer for us to take Zelalem on loan, which we say yes to because last year we had him on loan. He was an okay resi. He played 6 or 7 times and he was pretty decent in those games. So 65 overall, only 17 years old, so clearly a lot of room to go. 4-star weak foot, 3-star skill, some decent passing stats. And as a resi, you're not going to say no to that. So I'm pretty pleased with that deal. And also Borussia Mönchengladbach said that for Thomas Kraft, they weren't going to go as high as what we wanted. And also Schalke aren't going to go higher than £6 million for Kraft. And again, I'm not sure, that's not a bad deal, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. But Borussia Mönchengladbach want £4.5 million plus Kraft if we're going to be able to offer Ter Stegen a contract. So we go ahead and offer just a straight deal of £5 million, and we'll wait and see what they say because his contract is up at the end of the year. You've got to remember that. And also, Schalke said they're not going to go higher than £6 million, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, oh, I don't know because it's not a bad deal, but I'm just not sure. But we had a transfer offer for Lasogga here. It was Real Madrid for £14 million, and I was like, Like, that's not a bad deal, but I love Lasogga. 81 overall, 22 years old. We could probably get double that, but to be honest, I'm not even sure whether I'd sell him for double that, because I love Lasogga, you know. So he's going to be staying, and yeah, there you go. But also we look at Kraft's deal again, and we're still not sure on the Schalke deal. But Bayer Leverkusen wanted £9.8 million plus Kraft for Leno, and I was like, you must be serious, you must be joking. But after that, we saw that Serge Gnabry has accepted his contract and he has joined us here on loan, so I'm very happy with that. We also decided to reject the deal for Hector Bellerin, so I thought, nah, I'm not going to bother anymore. And also, yeah, you saw that we did indeed manage to sign Serge Gnabry. So Gnabry comes in, you know what he looks like. Of course, we had him last year. We signed quite a few players that we had on loan last year, but we signed Gnabry on a permanent deal, and for £1.6 million, I think that could be a really, really good steal for us, because, of course, although he only maybe 72 overall right now, he will grow into a very good player, you know, so I'm pretty happy with that. And yeah, I'm very pleased with that deal. But also another bid for Kraft there. This guy is in hot demand at the moment, and also we had a bid for Allegui as well. £1.4 million, Kaiserslautern wanted for. We said give us £2 million and you can take him, and we'll wait and see what they say, because he doesn't really get into the side that often, but he is okay. He's a 73 overall player, but they said they go as high as £1.7 million, which is 300 grand higher than his valuation. So I said, you know what, you can take him. Like, at the end of the day, he's a good player, but you can take him, because he isn't going to get into the side that much, and we just signed Gnabry anyway, so there you go. But also another bid for Kraft there. We asked Hamburg for £7.5 million. We'll wait and see what they say, and we're still thinking about the £6 million offer, because that's not a bad deal for Kraft, but I think we could do better. But after that, we would see as well that Borussia Mönchengladbach rejected the deal for Ter Stegen, so they don't want to let go of their goalkeeper unless they get £4.5 million plus Kraft. So with that in mind, they clearly want a replacement. They clearly want Kraft in straight away, and as you can see, he's definitely already an 81 overall goalkeeper. So I thought with that in mind, 81 overall or higher, so I thought with that in mind, I'll go ahead and offer a new deal of £4 million plus Kraft, because he's clearly a very decent goalkeeper. He's clearly got the potential, and we'll wait and see what they say, because although the goalkeeper area isn't one we need to strengthen, with all these bids coming in for Kraft, he's clearly going to get a little bit unsettled eventually. And yeah, to be honest, I think that could be a good deal for us, because obviously Ter Stegen is a bit of a monster on career mode, but we'll wait and see what they say. But another bid comes in for Kraft here. It's his former club, Bayern Munich, so every single club under the sun seems to want our goalkeeper here, but we just don't want to seem to let him go unless we have a deal lined up. And of course, with Borussia Mönchengladbach, we would have one. And also we see another transfer offer for Kraft. This time it's Real Madrid for £3.7 million. So yeah, it's crazy how many clubs want him. It really is. And also a bid came in here. Sorry, that bid was for Kraft as well, but we asked Schalke for £8 million, because I don't want to let him go for £6 million, because we'll see like 5.2 of that, and I don't think that would be good enough for us to sign a better goalkeeper. But Allegui's gone to Kaiserslautern for £1.7 million, and also you can see there, Borussia Mönchengladbach have accepted the transfer offer for Ter Stegen of £4 million plus Kraft. We can go ahead and offer him a contract here, and it looks like we could be able to get hold of the 22-year-old keeper for a relatively cheap deal. You have to say his valuation is £6.5 million. You know, in total with Kraft valuation as well, we may be spending like £1 million higher than that, but he is an awesome goalkeeper on career mode, so you're not really going to say no to that deal. So I'm pretty happy to accept that £4 million plus Kraft deal, and hopefully he will accept his contract. But again, when another counter offer comes in for Kraft here, we just say no to Hamburg, so not offering what we want. But as you can see here, another transfer offer, this time for Felix Bastians, our left back. He's not that good. Kaiserslautern want him for 325 grand. He's valued 100 grand higher, so we said give us 400 grand, you can take him, and they decided to go ahead and match that deal. So I'm pretty happy with that. He looks like he's on his way, and we'll get a bit more cashish. And also Ter Stegen has accepted his contract, so the Borussia Mönchengladbach keeper is coming in for £4 million plus Kraft. At the end of the day, I wasn't sure at first, because the goalkeeper area isn't really the one we need to strengthen, and we need to conserve all our pennies. But I thought, I don't think we're ever going to get him as cheap as this, so I thought, let's go ahead and do it. Ter Stegen comes in, 82 overall goalkeeper at just 22 years of age, 4-star week for very nice, and as you can see here, his stats are fantastic. He really does look like a fantastic goalkeeper. He's just going to get better, and I'm very happy with that deal. So Ter Stegen comes in, and I know, I'm sure people are going to be in the comments like, why would you sign a goalkeeper? You don't need one. But to be honest, I just thought, when are you going to get a steal like this? You know, it's just like, you know, sometimes when you see you can get a good deal, you just have to go ahead and do it. You know, you can't pass up the chance, even if you don't particularly need that player right now. You can't afford to pass up the chance. You know, so we get Ter Stegen, Kraft goes the other way, and we've upgraded our goalkeeper by 3 points, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. But we also decided to go in for Hernandez, £3 million plus for Ramos. The reason I'm doing this is because Ramos, he wouldn't sign a new contract next year. His contract's up at the end of the year, so in January he can leave on a free if he wanted to do so. And at the end of the day, I would like to replace him anyway, because I don't really get on that well with Ramos. Like, I don't mind Lasogga, but I don't really get on with that well with that Ramos. I don't know why, but even so, I like to play with one striker up front anyway. So what I was thinking of doing is possibly signing a player like Morata or Jesse Rodriguez, who may be a bit of a bench player or a sort of an attacking midfielder, supporting Lasogga up top if we change formation. But even so, we put in some bids there. Also, we had a transfer offer for Andrich here, our centre defensive midfielder. We sent him on loan to Scunthorpe last year. He grew like 2 or 3 ratings, but he's still very poor. He's only 58 overall, and he's never really going to grow that well. So we go ahead and not accept that transfer offer. And also a big came in for Ben Sahar. He was out on loan last year. He didn't seem to grow, and we go ahead and accept that deal, or I think we put a counter offer actually. But also a big came in for Langkamp here. Torino want our centre half for £1.6 million. Cologne have accepted a 750 grand counter offer for Ben Sahar. Also that random centre defensive midfielder has gone. I know he's quite young, but I don't think it's going to be very good for us. And Felix Bastians has gone as well for 400 grand as we tidy up our inbox. But transfer came in for Langkamp here. Torino wanted for £1.6 million. We just said no, because he's actually a very decent backup centre half. 75 overall, 26 years old, same rating as Brooks. I'm pretty happy keeping him here. So, you know, I'd rather keep him here than just get a bit of money. But following that, we decided to go ahead and put in a new bid for Jesse Rodriguez here of Real Madrid. His wages are the thing that's putting me off at the moment though, because he's 60 grand a week, and that's quite a lot of money. But we put in a straight deal for Ramos, a straight swap deal, and we'll wait and see what Real Madrid say, because I'd rather have him than Ramos, because even though he's pretty lower rated, I don't really get on with Ramos. But also Real Madrid won't let go of Morata, not a real surprise, and United want £9.9 million plus Ramos for Hernandez, and I was like, that's not going to happen. But Ben Sahara's gone for Cologne. He's gone for 750 grand, I think it was, and also Real Madrid wanted £3.9 million plus Ramos if they're going to let us take Jesse Rodriguez. And I just thought, nah, that's not worth it. You know, at the end of the day, it's not that bad of a deal. I'm sure he's got some decent potential, maybe low to mid 80s, but at the end of the day, I think that's a bit too much to ask for, really, because Ramos is still quite good, 80 overall. You know, even though I don't get on with him, he's still a very decent player, so I don't think I really want to pay that much plus Ramos. But there you go. We put in a bid for Kevin Volland here of Hoffenheim. Very talented youngster, obviously, can play on the wings and up top, and yeah, looks very, very good, but unfortunately I don't think we'll be able to get hold of him. Unfortunately, as we only got a few £1 million to spend, we got about £10 million in total. Well, probably not even that, really, probably about like 8 million or maybe 7 million actually in total when you consider the wage budget. I don't think we're going to be able to get any of these really good players. I think we're going to have to settle for a player who doesn't seem that great at first but can grow into a good player, because unfortunately we don't really have the money or the big name players to sell in order to raise the funds. So we're putting a bid here for Rudiger of Stuttgart of £1.5 million plus Parlak, and we also had a pre-season friendly here to end the episode off. It's against Crystal Palace, and we end up simulating it, and we won it by 3-1. And the last thing you'll see as well is that we offered a contract to Ramos as well. So as always, guys, a big thank you for watching the video. I really hope you have enjoyed it. If you have enjoyed the episode, please leave a like, so much appreciated. It really does help my channel out. It's been a really long episode, so please do leave a like, show some support, and yeah, I'll see you for the next episode of my Next Gen Career Mode very soon.